The big room was quiet. Jae-sung, the leader of the Galactic Council, sat at the head of a long table. Around him, beings from many different planets sat still, waiting. They were all different colors and shapes, but they all looked worried. Suddenly, a loud beep broke the silence. Everyone jumped. A small blue alien named Da-hyun ran into the room. His 4 eyes were wide with fear. "High Counselor," Da-hyun shouted, "we have a big problem." Jae-sung stood up. He was tall and had gray skin. His voice was deep and calm. "What is it, Da-hyun?" he asked. Da-hyun took a deep breath. "Our sensors have picked up a huge ship," he said. "It just appeared out of nowhere. It's heading straight for us." The room filled with scared whispers. Jae-sung raised his hand, and everyone went quiet again. "Show us," he said. Da-hyun pressed a button on his wrist. A big screen appeared in the middle of the room. On it, they could see a map of space. A red dot was moving slowly towards the center. "That's us," Da-hyun said, pointing to the center. "And that," he pointed to the red dot, "is the ship." Jae-sung looked closely at the screen. "How big is it?" he asked. Da-hyun looked at his datapad. It's bigger than anything we've ever seen before," he said. "At least 10 times the size of our biggest ship." The room filled with scared noises again. Jae-sung had to raise his voice to be heard. "What do we know about it?" he asked. Da-hyun shook his head. "Not much," he said. "It doesn't match any ship we know." "But," he paused, looking nervous. "But what?" Jae-sung asked. "But we did find one thing," Da-hyun said. "There's writing on the side of the ship. We translated it. It says, Earth." The room went completely silent. Everyone looked at each other with wide eyes. "Earth," someone finally said. "But that's humans," Jae-sung finished. "The ship is from Earth. It's a human ship." More whispers filled the room. Some people looked scared. Others looked angry. "But humans are primitive," someone shouted. "They can't have ships like this." "Apparently, they can," Jae-sung said. He turned to Da-hyun. "What are they doing? Have they sent any messages?" Da-hyun shook his head. "No, High Counselor. They're just coming closer." Jae-sung thought for a moment. Then he turned to the council. "We need to decide what to do," he said. "And we need to decide fast." A tall green alien named Kita stood up. "We should attack," he said. "Destroy them before they can hurt us." But a small pink alien named Su-yeon disagreed. "No," she said. "We should try to talk to them. Maybe they come in peace." The council started to argue. Some agreed with Kita. Others thought Su-yeon was right. The room got louder and louder. Jae-sung listened to everyone. He looked at the screen, watching the red dot get closer and closer. Finally, he made a decision. "Enough," he shouted. Everyone went quiet. "We will not attack," he said, "but we will be careful. Su-yeon, you will lead a team to try and talk to the humans. But Kita, I want our weapons ready, just in case." Both aliens nodded. Jae-sung turned back to the screen. "Da-hyun," he said, "keep watching that ship. Tell me if anything changes." "Yes, High Counselor," Da-hyun said. As everyone left to do their jobs, Jae-sung stayed in the room. He looked at the big screen, watching the red dot. It was getting closer and closer. "Humans," he said quietly to himself. "What do you want? Why are you here?" He didn't know the answers, but he knew one thing for sure. Everything was about to change. The galaxy would never be the same again. As the red dot on the screen grew larger, Jae-sung prepared himself. Whatever was coming, he would face it. For his people, for the council, for the whole galaxy. The humans were coming, and the Galactic Council would be ready. Sunmei took a deep breath. She looked out the window of her small ship. The human battleship was huge. It filled the whole view. Sun Mai had never seen anything so big in space before. "Are you ready?" asked her pilot, a blue alien named Minjun. Sun Mai nodded. "Yes," she said. "Let's go meet the humans." Their ship moved closer to the big human ship. Sun Mai felt scared, but also excited. She had studied humans for years. Now she would finally meet them. Suddenly, a voice came through their speakers. It was speaking a language Sun Mai knew from her studies. English. "Unknown ship, this is Captain Lee of the Earth Battleship Peacekeeper. Please identify yourself." Sun Mai pressed a button to answer. "This is Diplomat Sun Mai of the Galactic Council. We come in peace." There was a pause. Then Captain Lee's voice came back. "We're glad to hear that. We come in peace too. Can we meet face to face?" Sun Mai looked at Minjun. He nodded. "Yes," Sun Mai said. "We can dock with your ship." A few minutes later, Sun Mai and Minjun walked into a big room on the human ship. 5 humans stood waiting for them. Sun Mai knew humans came in different colors, but she was still surprised to see it. One human stepped forward. He had dark skin and kind eyes. "I'm Captain Lee," he said. "Welcome aboard the Peacekeeper." Sun Mai bowed slightly. "Thank you, Captain. I'm Sun Mai, and this is Minjun." Captain Lee smiled. "It's nice to meet you both. We've been looking forward to meeting other intelligent life for a long time." Sun Mai was surprised. "You've been looking for us?" "Yes," said Captain Lee. "Earth has been reaching out to the stars for years. We want to join the galactic community." Sun Mai felt relieved. Maybe this would be easy after all. "That's wonderful," she said. "The Galactic Council will be happy to hear that." But then one of the other humans spoke up. He was tall with light skin and red hair. "Hold on, Captain," he said. "We can't trust them yet. Remember our mission." Sun Mai felt confused. "Your mission?" she asked. "What mission?" Captain Lee looked uncomfortable. "It's nothing," he said quickly. "Just a misunderstanding." But the red-haired human kept talking. "We're here to make sure humans get respect," he said. "We won't be pushed around by aliens." Sun Mai felt scared again. "Pushed around," she said. "We don't want to push anyone around. We want peace." "That's what they all say," said the red-haired human. "But we know better. We've seen the videos." Now Sun Mai was really confused. "Videos? What videos?" Captain Lee tried to stop the other human, but he was too late. The red-haired man pulled out a small device. He pressed a button, and an image appeared in the air. Sun Mai gasped. The image showed aliens attacking humans, but it wasn't real. Sun Mai could tell it was fake. "This isn't real," she said. "This never happened." "Liar," shouted the red-haired human. He moved towards Sun Mai angrily. Minjun jumped in front of Sun Mai to protect her. But this made things worse. The other humans thought Minjun was attacking. Suddenly, everyone was shouting. The humans pulled out weapons. Minjun pushed Sun Mai behind him. "Stop," yelled Captain Lee. "This is all a misunderstanding." But it was too late. Alarms started ringing. More humans ran into the room with big guns. Sun Mai and Minjun backed away towards their ship. "We have to go," Sun Mai said. This was a mistake. They ran back to their ship. As they flew away from the Peacekeeper, Sun Mai felt sad and scared. She had hoped for peace. Now she was afraid there might be war. Back on the human ship, Captain Lee was angry. "What have you done?" He shouted at the red-haired man. "You've ruined everything." "I was protecting us," the man said. "We can't trust aliens." Captain Lee shook his head. "No," he said. "You let fear control you. Now we might have started a war." As both ships moved away from each other, both sides felt the same thing. Fear, anger, and a sense that something had gone very wrong. The hope for peace was fading fast, and no one knew what would happen next. Captain Lee stood by the big window on the Peacekeeper. He looked out at the stars. His face was sad and worried. He thought about how things had gone wrong with the aliens. "Captain," a voice said behind him. Lee turned around. It was his second in command, HFY. "What is it, HFY?" Lee asked. "The crew wants to know what we're going to do now," HFY said. "They're scared. Some want to go back to Earth." Lee shook his head. "We can't go back," he said. "Not yet. We have a job to do." HFY nodded. "I know. But maybe we should tell the crew why we're really here. It might help them understand." Lee thought for a moment. Then he agreed. "You're right. Call everyone to the main hall." It's time they knew the truth. An hour later, the whole crew was in the main hall. There were about 200 people. They all looked worried. Captain Lee stood in front of them. "I know you're all scared," he began. "I know some of you want to go home. But we can't. Not yet. It's time you knew why we're really here." The room was very quiet. Everyone was listening closely. 10 years ago, Lee said, "We got a message from space. It was from the Galactic Council. They told us to stay on our planet. They said we weren't ready to join them." People in the room started to whisper. They looked surprised and angry. "But that wasn't all," Lee continued. "They said if we tried to leave Earth, they would stop us. They said we were too dangerous." Now people were talking louder. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. "Our leaders didn't agree," Lee said. "They thought the aliens were wrong about us. So they made a plan. They built this ship in secret. They made it strong and fast. And they sent us here to prove that humans are ready to join the galaxy." The room was quiet again. Everyone was thinking about what Lee had said. "But Captain," someone asked, "why did they tell us those scary stories about aliens? Why did they show us those fake videos?" Lee looked sad. "They wanted us to be careful," he said. "They were afraid the aliens might really attack us. But I think they were wrong to lie to us. It almost caused a big problem today." HFY stepped forward. "So what do we do now?" she asked. Lee stood up straighter. He looked more confident now. "Now we do what we came here to do," he said. "We show the Galactic Council that humans are peaceful. We show them that we're smart and brave. We show them that we belong out here, among the stars." The crew started to nod. Some of them even smiled a little. "It won't be easy," Lee said. "The aliens are scared of us now. But we can change that. We can show them who we really are." "How?" someone asked. "By being the best humans we can be," Lee answered. "By being kind and brave and smart. By helping them if they need help. By learning from them. And by not being afraid." The crew was getting excited now. They were starting to believe in their mission again. "Are you with me?" Lee asked. "Will you help me show the galaxy what humans can really do?" The crew cheered. They were ready to try again. As the meeting ended, Lee felt better. He knew it would be hard. He knew there would be more problems. But he also knew that his crew was ready. They would face whatever came next together. Lee looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was waiting. They were probably scared and angry. But Lee and his crew would change that. They would show the galaxy that humans were ready. They would make Earth proud. The Peacekeeper moved forward, deeper into space. The next chapter of their mission was about to begin. The big room was noisy. All the members of the Galactic Council were talking at once. Some were shouting. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. High Counselor Jae-sung sat at the head of the table, trying to keep everyone calm. "Please, everyone," Jae-sung said loudly. "We need to talk about this calmly." Slowly, the room got quiet. All eyes turned to Jae-sung. "We all know what happened," Jae-sung said. "The humans came. We tried to talk to them. It didn't go well. Now we need to decide what to do next." A tall blue alien named Taiwan stood up. "I say we try to talk to them again," he said. "Maybe it was just a misunderstanding." Many council members nodded. But then another alien, a short, red one named Yanji, jumped up. "No," Yanji shouted. "The humans are dangerous. We should attack them now, before they attack us." The room got noisy again. Half the council agreed with Taiwan. The other half agreed with Yanji. Jae-sung had to shout to be heard. "Quiet, please," he said. "Let's think about this carefully." When the room was quiet again, Jae-sung turned to Sunmi. She was the diplomat who had met the humans. "Sunmi," Jae-sung said, "tell us again what happened on the human ship." Sunmi stood up. She looked nervous. "The humans said they came in peace," she said. "Their leader, Captain Lee, was friendly. But then one of the other humans got angry. He showed us fake videos of aliens attacking humans. He thought we were going to hurt them." "See," Yanji said. "They don't trust us. They're ready to fight. We should strike first." But Taiwan shook his head. "No," he said. "It sounds like some humans want peace. We should try to talk to them again." Jae-sung listened to both sides. Then he asked Sunmi another question. "What do you think, Sunmi? Are the humans dangerous?" Sunmi thought for a moment. "I'm not sure," she said. "Their ship is very big and strong. But Captain Lee seemed kind. I think they're scared, just like we are." The council members started talking again. Some agreed with Sunmi. Others didn't believe her. Jae-sung raised his hand for quiet. "There's one more thing we need to think about," he said. "The humans have very strong technology. Their ship is bigger than anything we have. If we fight them, we might lose." This made everyone stop and think. Even Yanji looked worried now. "So what do we do?" someone asked. Jae-sung stood up. He looked at each council member. "I think we have 3 choices," he said. "First, we can try to talk to the humans again. Second, we can attack them. Or third, we can ask them to leave our space and never come back." The council members looked at each other. No one was sure what to do. "We need to vote," Jae-sung said. "But before we do, I want you all to think carefully. Whatever we decide will change the future of our whole galaxy. We must choose wisely." Just then, a young alien ran into the room. He looked very scared. "High Counselor," he shouted, "we just got a message from the human ship." Everyone turned to look at him. The room was completely quiet. "What does it say?" Jae-sung asked. The young alien took a deep breath. It says they want to meet with us again. They say there's been a big misunderstanding. They want to explain everything." The council members all started talking at once. Some thought it was a trap. Others thought it was a chance for peace. Jae-sung looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the human ship was waiting. He knew that whatever they decided next would change everything. He turned back to the council. "Well," he said, "it seems we have a new choice to make. What shall we do?" The fate of 2 civilizations hung in the balance. The next few minutes would decide if there would be war or peace in the galaxy. The Galactic Council room was quiet. Everyone was thinking about the humans' message. Should they meet with them again? It was a hard choice. Suddenly, loud alarms started ringing. Red lights flashed everywhere. The council members looked around, scared and confused. A young alien ran into the room. "High Counselor," he shouted to Jae-sung. "We're under attack." Jae-sung stood up quickly. "What? By who?" "The humans." The young alien shook his head. "No, it's the Void Horde." Everyone gasped. The Void Horde was the most feared enemy in the galaxy. They destroyed everything in their path. No one had ever beaten them. "How many ships?" Jae-sung asked. "At least 100, the young alien said. "Maybe more." The council room erupted in panic. People were shouting and running around. Jae-sung had to yell to be heard. "Everyone, calm down," he shouted. "We need to think." Just then, another message came in. It was from the human ship. "This is Captain Lee," the message said. "We see you're under attack. We want to help. Please, let us fight with you." The council was shocked. They looked at each other, not sure what to do. Tae-Won spoke up. "We should accept their help," he said. "We can't beat the Void Horde alone." But Yeonji disagreed. "No," she said. "We can't trust them. It might be a trick." Jae-sung thought hard. Then he made a decision. "We don't have a choice," he said. "We need their help." He turned to the communications officer. "Tell the humans we accept their offer." Minutes later, the human ship Peacekeeper moved next to the Galactic Council's ships. Captain Lee's voice came over the radio. "We're ready to fight," he said. "What's the plan?" Jae-sung looked at his military advisor. The advisor shook his head. We don't have a plan," he said. "We've never beaten the Void Horde before." There was a pause. Then Captain Lee spoke again. "We have an idea," he said, "but we'll need to work together." Jae-sung nodded. "Tell us," he said. Captain Lee explained his plan. It was risky, but it might work. The Galactic Council ships would draw the Void Horde's attention. Meanwhile, the Peacekeeper would sneak behind the enemy ships. "Our ship has a special weapon," Lee said. "It can shut down other ships' engines, but we need to get close." Jae-sung looked at his advisors. They all nodded. It was worth a try. "Okay," Jae-sung said. "Let's do it." The battle began. The Void Horde ships came in fast, shooting at everything. The Galactic Council ships fought back bravely, but they were losing. Then, just when things looked worst, the Peacekeeper appeared behind the Void Horde ships. A strange blue light shot out from the human ship. Suddenly, half of the Void Horde ships stopped moving. "Now," Captain Lee shouted, "attack them while they can't move." The Galactic Council ships turned and fired at the stopped Void Horde ships. One by one, the enemy ships were destroyed. The remaining Void Horde ships tried to run away. But the Peacekeeper was faster. It chased them, using its special weapon again and again. Soon, all the enemy ships were gone. The battle was over. The Galactic Council had won, thanks to the humans. In the council room, everyone was quiet again. But this time, it wasn't because of fear. It was because of surprise and relief. Jae-sung looked out the window at the Peacekeeper. He smiled a little. "I think," he said slowly, "we might have made a mistake about the humans." Tae-Won nodded. "They saved us," he said. "Maybe they really do come in peace." Even Yeonji looked impressed. I was wrong about them," she admitted. Jae-sung turned to the communications officer. "Send a message to Captain Lee," he said. Tell him we're ready to talk. Really talk this time." As the message was sent, Jae-sung felt hopeful for the first time in days. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something new. Something good. A friendship that could change the whole galaxy. The big meeting room on the Galactic Council's main ship was full. On one side sat the council members, led by High Counselor Jae-sung. On the other side sat Captain Lee and his team from the human ship Peacekeeper. Everyone was quiet. After the big fight with the Void Horde, both sides had a lot to talk about. Jae-sung spoke first. "Captain Lee," he said, "we want to thank you for your help. Without you, we might have lost that battle." Captain Lee nodded. "We're glad we could help," he said. "That's why we came here. To help and to learn." Yeonji, who had been against the humans before, looked confused. "But why?" she asked. "Why did you come all this way?" Lee took a deep breath. "Because 10 years ago, we got a message from the Galactic Council," he said. "It told us to stay on our planet. It said we weren't ready to join you." The council members looked at each other. They seemed surprised. "We never sent such a message," Jae-sung said. Now it was Lee's turn to look confused. "But we got it," he said. "That's why we built the Peacekeeper. To show you we were ready." Tae-Won, who had always wanted peace, spoke up. "Could it have been a trick?" he asked. "Maybe someone else sent that message." Everyone thought about this. It made sense. Someone might have wanted to keep humans and the Galactic Council apart. The Void Horde, Sunmai said suddenly. They might have done it. They don't want anyone to join together against them. Jae-sung nodded slowly. That makes sense, he said. He turned to Captain Lee. It seems we both made mistakes. We believed wrong things about each other. Lee agreed. Yes, he said. But maybe now we can start over. Learn the truth about each other. For the next few hours, humans and aliens talked. They shared stories about their worlds. They explained their hopes and fears. They laughed at funny misunderstandings. The council members were amazed by human art and music. The humans were fascinated by alien science and culture. Both sides found they had a lot to learn from each other. Your ship is amazing, Tadwan said to Lee. How does it work? Lee smiled. We'd be happy to show you, he said, and we'd love to learn about your technology too. As they talked, the mood in the room got better and better. The fear and anger from before were gone. Now there was excitement and hope. Near the end of the meeting, Jae-sung stood up. He looked serious. Captain Lee, he said, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I want to apologize. We judged you without knowing you. We almost made a terrible mistake. Lee stood up too. We understand, he said. We made mistakes too. But now we have a chance to make things right. Jae-sung smiled. Yes, he said. And I have a proposal. We would like to invite Earth to join the Galactic Council. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Lee broke into a big smile. We would be honored, he said. This is what we hoped for all along. The room erupted in cheers and applause. Humans and aliens shook hands and hugged. It was a historic moment. As the celebration went on, Jae-sung pulled Lee aside. There's a lot of work to do, he said. We need to set up official meetings, write agreements, introduce your people to the rest of the galaxy. Lee nodded. Yes, he said. But we're ready, and we're excited to start. Jae-sung looked out at the stars. Who knows what we can achieve together, he said. Lee followed his gaze. The possibilities are endless, he agreed. As they stood there, both leaders felt the same thing. A sense of hope. A feeling that this was the start of something big. Something that would change the galaxy forever. The future was bright, and it was just beginning. 1 year had passed since the humans and the Galactic Council first met. The big human ship, Peacekeeper, was back in space near the Council's main planet. But this time, it wasn't alone. A whole fleet of ships surrounded the Peacekeeper. Some were human ships. Others were from different alien races. They were all there for a special day. Inside the biggest council ship, Captain Lee stood next to High Counselor Jae-sung. They were both smiling. Are you ready? Jae-sung asked. Lee nodded. Earth has been waiting for this day for a long time, he said. They walked into a huge room. It was full of people from all over the galaxy. Humans stood next to tall, short, and colorful aliens. Everyone was talking excitedly. Jae-sung walked to the front of the room. He raised his hands, and everyone got quiet. Today is a historic day, Jae-sung said. Today we welcome Earth as a full member of the Galactic Council. The room erupted in cheers. Humans and aliens clapped and hugged each other. It was a happy moment for everyone. Captain Lee stepped forward. On behalf of Earth, we thank you, he said. We promise to be good friends and partners to all races in the galaxy. After the ceremony, there was a big party. Humans shared their food and music with the aliens. The aliens showed off their strange and wonderful technologies. In one corner, Taiwan was teaching a group of humans how to play an alien game. It looked like chess, but the board was round and the pieces could fly. Nearby, Sunbai was talking with human scientists. They were excitedly discussing plans to share knowledge and work on projects together. Even Yanji, who had once been afraid of humans, was enjoying herself. She was trying human food and seemed to really like it. What do you call this again? She asked a human chef. Pizza, the chef said, smiling. It's one of our favorite foods. As the party went on, Jae-sung found Lee looking out a big window at the stars. "What are you thinking about?" Jae-sung asked. Lee turned to him. "I'm thinking about how much has changed," he said. "A year ago, we were afraid of each other. Now look at us." Jae-sung nodded. "Yes," he said. "We've learned so much from each other already. And there's still so much more to learn." Just then, an alarm sounded. But it wasn't a scary alarm. It was more like an excited beep. A young alien ran up to Jae-sung and Lee. "Sirs," he said, "we just got a message from the exploration team." "What does it say?" Lee asked. The young alien grinned. "They found a new planet," he said, "and it has life on it." Jae-sung and Lee looked at each other. They both smiled. "Well," Jae-sung said, "it looks like we have a new adventure waiting for us." Lee nodded. "Yes," he said, "and this time, we'll face it together." They went back to the party to share the news. Soon, everyone was talking about the new planet. Humans and aliens were already making plans to visit it together. As the night went on, Lee found himself thinking about the future. He thought about all the new things humans would learn. He thought about the friends they had made among the stars. But most of all, he thought about how far they had come. From being alone on Earth to being part of a big galactic family. The party lasted long into the night. And as people started to leave, they all felt the same thing. Excitement for what was to come. A new era had begun. Humans and aliens working together, exploring the galaxy side by side, facing whatever came next as friends. As Lee looked out at the stars one last time, he smiled. The galaxy was a big place. But now it felt a little bit smaller, and a whole lot friendlier. The adventure was just beginning, and it was going to be amazing.